All right, here we go.
Are you doing the intro, or am I doing it?
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your man Skip, aka Skip Matosh of the Sacktown Breakdown, with my main man, the infamous. Y'all been seeing him, especially the last few games. Tap Lover, say what's up to the people, Tap.
Hello, everybody. This is the first one we've done together this year. Took us 23 games. I know my boy Skip is originally born and raised. I don't know about raised, but born in the great state of North Carolina, where Michael Jordan's from. Took us our 23rd game to do it together. Illuminati confirmed? Maybe.
I didn't even put that together, and I'm always looking for 23s because not only was I born in the great state of North Carolina, not only did I have my man Harry Giles, who's also from North Carolina, sign my shoes on FanFest, but I was born on the 23rd of December, so 12/23 in '85.
I thought about that.
All over the place.
I thought about that today. When I was watching the game, I was like, I gotta bring that up.
Absolutely. But what we're going to think about today is this Kings win. Nemanja Bjelica hits a big shot. Oh, my goodness. Tap. Where do we even start? Where do we start with this? We haven't done this together. I'm a little all over the place with this. Where do we go?
Well, I mean, we can talk about how much I hate James Harden. I always hate somebody on the other team, it seems like, these days. We can talk about how Bjelica is all of a sudden the next Kevin Durant, or maybe better than Kevin Durant since Kevin Durant's not playing. We can talk about how Dwayne Dedmon did not play. We can start, with the little things. Dwayne Dedmon another DNP. 2 games in a row now. We can start the little things, or we can go with the game winner. It depends on how you want to do it. You want to go with the main event or the first fight on the card?
You know what? I got an idea before that. Let's get into a little bit of the stats, just so people kind of know exactly where we're coming from. I like to break these parts down as I'm doing the audio check. So usually, what I like to do, and then we're gonna jump into the topics that we're really gonna hear about, the hot ones. But let's go by the quarter. So Kings started off very solid against Houston. 32-point quarter, the Houston's 28. Second quarter, 27 for the Kings, while Houston started to turn it up with 36. And then finally, it came to the third quarter, and that's usually where we all know the Kings suffer and go down big time. But that didn't happen this time. This time around, we got 35 points to their 29. And then, oddly enough, in the fourth quarter, it was tied 25-25. But that didn't matter because our 25 got us 1 more point than theirs and got us the victory. I'm looking at the game leaders here, and then Buddy Hield led our team with 26 points, and and then Russell Westbrook had 34. Harrison Barnes had 8 rebounds, while PJ Tucker had 19 rebounds, 16 defensive rebounds. Homeboy was beasting. Undersized power forward status. Trevor Ariza has 7 assists to James Harden's 10, and then Rashawn Holmes had 4 steals and 2 blocks. James Harden had 2 steals and 1 block. And I always like to take a look at this because the team stats kind of tell a little bit of the story. And shout out to Jeff D the Lefty in the chat. Jeff D the Lefty, or Jeff the Lefty. If you don't normally watch, you may not recognize me, or if you don't watch on Twitch, because I haven't streamed my recaps on Twitch recently, I am your boy Skip and Tosh here, the other host, the co-host to my man Tap. You see the name clearly right there. You know what my name is, Jeff the Lefty. You see the name down there, man. Shout out to you, and thank you for always holding down Tap. He talks about you very nicely when we're not live, so thanks for showing up.
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah, so team stats. So field goal percentage actually went to Houston just by a smidge. They put up 84 shots and they hit 41 of them, so 48.8 to our 40 shots that we hit out of 88. So we 45.5. So we ended just a little below them. 3-pointers was interesting. We had the higher 3-point percentage. We hit 20 of our 45, which gave us 44.4, and they only hit 17 of their 50. So they shot 5 more, but they made 3 less than us, so 34% for them, which is below league average. Free throws, we did a really good job this time. We only missed, 3, so 19 of 22. And we were also getting to the line, and that's something that had really plagued us for a long time, just the inability to get to the line kind of control the pace of the game a little bit better, slow things down. While they made one more, actually, they shot one more than us and made the same amount. So that put them at 82.6 to our 86.4. They had one more assist than us, 24 assists to 25. They had a lot more rebounds, 51 rebounds to our 37. Which, you know what, Tap? I want to say something about that. That's kind of interesting because last year, two of the biggest things that we needed to address was defense and rebounding. And I do want to take a second here, another quick second. Aaron Brewski, who has been getting flamed all around Sacramento. And he and I got into a little Twitter thing a while back. It's all good. Bygones are bygones. I'm not tripping. But I will say, I'm going to give Aaron Brewski his credit on this. And I'm not going to give him the credit that he said, where the grades were going out for how we did. And before we had like a C, and then when he saw that we got Rashawn Holmes, he gave us like an A- or something like that after the grades come out. That's just ridiculous. But I will say this. Rashawn Holmes has come in, made us a better defensive team, made us a better team on offense too, in the starting position, which is going to be very interesting to see what happens when Bagley comes back, because B Elites is playing good as well. Just had a 30-point game the other day. And rebounds. We needed rebounding and defense last year, and Rashawn Holmes has helped us with both. Corey Joseph has helped us, especially with the defense. So I just wanted to point that out. This is one of the very rare times where we got out-rebounded at all, and if we did, out-rebounded so much. And shout out to Fibo, who's also in the chat. Yeah, skip and tap together, Fibo. Look at that, bro. We had to do it. We had to do it together this time around. Now, on the speaking about defense, Tap, we have 14 steals to their 4.
Whew.
Holy crap. Luke Walton is making me eat my words big time. They had one more block than us, and bro, okay, so I always say our sweet spot for turnovers are between 12 and 14. 15 is kind of like max, like we can be okay, but anytime we get over more than 15 turnovers, we rarely ever win the game. I've noticed that personally. We only had 9 turnovers tonight, and you know how many they had? Well, I guess maybe the steals kind of make it obvious. They had 19 turnovers for the Rockets. Ridiculous.
Yep.
Tap, do you have the stats pulled up in front of you for the game?
I do.
Okay, did you want to go over the Houston stats and then the King stats?
Oh, I'll go over Houston stats. Okay, so let's get into Houston stats. Westbrook, surprisingly, 13 of 17 from the field. He was efficient, shocking. 6 of 7 free throw. He didn't suck from the free throw line. James Harden, 8 of 19, inefficient. 3 of 10 from the field. Actually 8 of 19 is inefficient, but it's kind of efficient for James Harden. This is a man known to go 11 for 38, 10 for 36. James Harden will just throw up bricks nonstop. 8 of 19 isn't that bad. Actually surprised he didn't take more shots. But the man of the hour, too sweet to be sour. What you see is not what you get when this man was in a Kings jersey. But what he does in the Rockets jersey is better yet. McLemore, excuse me. This man was 4 of 13 from three-point land. So apparently Ben McLemore has been given the job of just standing in the corner and shooting threes, which really is all he had to do in the Kings uniform. And by the way, side note, I don't know if my little rhyme there made any sense. It probably didn't. I was kind of freestyling it. But regardless, Ben McLemore, 4 of 13 from the field. He's been given the mind-numbing task of just standing in the corner and shooting threes. But hey, he actually almost put us away. So shout out to Ben McLemore. I have, throughout the years, kind of come to the conclusion, maybe if DeMarcus Cousins wasn't down his throat 24/7, maybe he would have been better. Maybe he was just like under too much pressure because he was scared of DeMarcus. I don't know. That's all behind us, though. But I'll tell you what, if we would have lost this game to a Ben McLemore 3, I would have been sick to my stomach. But regardless, if you look at it's kind of interesting. If you look at this lineup for the Rockets, they got 22 minutes from Gary Clark, 4 minutes from some guy named Chris Clemens, some guy, because I have no idea who the hell he is. And then they got 33 minutes from Ben McLemore off the bench. Other than that, it was all starters. I mean, and I guess, our team, we only had Ariza Farrell Bogdanovich off the bench. but we have a lot deeper of a team. I guess Austin Rivers was sick, but point being is the Rockets team ain't that deep, to be honest. I mean, they pretty much have like one guy for each thing, and that's it. They got Westbrook and Harden are their guards. They got Capella at center, Tucker at power forward, Daniel House at small forward. I don't see the Rockets making it very far in the playoffs. Just a little tangent there. But overall, I mean, PJ Tucker, 19 rebounds. That's pretty impressive, being that he's he's a little on the smaller side. I thought he had 3 fouls in the first quarter there. Grant kind of tricked me. He told me there was a foul at first, and then ended up being on Westbrook and not PJ Tucker. But we almost got PJ Tucker in foul trouble. Westbrook was in foul trouble, so that made me happy. Rashawn Holmes was actually able to not be in foul trouble this game. He was able to avoid that, which has been nice. He only had 3, because I kind of thought maybe he'd be in foul trouble against against Clint Capella, but Rashawn Holmes was able to stay out of the way. I would say, though, I think maybe we're letting, like, for example, that last play where Westbrook just drove to the basket with the layup, that kind of irritated me. We definitely should have, been getting in front of people a little more. Like, I think I'd rather would have had Rashawn Holmes slide over and foul him and make Westbrook shoot the free throws than have make that layup. But it is what it is. I mean, either way, we got the W. But yeah, I mean, not to sound like I'm happy about it, but I'm complaining about it at the same time. I would have liked to have seen Harrison Barnes maybe pick up an extra foul or two, playing defense, or Corey Joseph only had 1 foul. I kind of felt like some people got, like, James Harden was getting to the basket nonstop. Now, do you really want him shooting free throws? Probably not, but I would just hack Westbrook because that dude can't shoot free throws at all. But regardless, Buddy Hield, 10 of 19. He played decent, 6 of 13 from 3. 26 points. He was your leading scorer on the Kings. They played good. I mean, Buddy Hield made the shots when it mattered, and he hasn't done that every game this season. Bogdanovich, 5 of 11 shooting, which these days has been a good game for him if he's 5 of 11, because it seems like a lot of games Bogdanovich will be like 3 for 9 or like 4 for 13. He's had some pretty inefficient games. But overall, good performance by the Kings. Trevor Ariza seemed like he kind of wanted to prove a point against his old team. The way he was out there, he was really trying to shoot those threes. And other than that, good performance. Bielitsa, obviously, the GOAT from downtown. And by the way, do you recall when I said, was it this? What game was that? Was that the Spurs game, I think, in the recap? I said that I believe somebody shot a game winner, I think. And I said, Bielitsa was having a bad game. And I said, and then they took Bielitsa out at the end of the game because he had 5 fouls. And I said, even though Bielitsa was having like a bad shooting game, I much rather would have had him shoot it than I forgot who shot the game winner and they missed it. And this is why, because Bielitsa will get you buckets. I can't remember. I have to go back. I think, it was the game when it was the game when we shot 4 threes or whatever. We shot 4 times. We had 4 opportunities to win, and we missed all 4.
And we missed all, yeah.
And I think they took out Bielitsa and put in Ariza at the end there. And I was like, why would you do that? I would rather have Bielitsa out there shooting that 3. And this is an example of why. So,
yep. Vindication for the man, Tap. So there goes the numbers. We ran those down. Now let's get into the juicy tidbits. Tap, where shall we begin, my friend?
Well,
you got some notes over there.
I have notes from the first quarter and the second quarter. About halfway through halftime, I started eating dinner. And by the time I was like ready to start taking notes, the game was getting intense. And I just kind of like, I was out of the rhythm for the notes. I was like, you know what, I'll just freestyle this one past halftime. But I mean, like Skip already kind of ran through the game. Both teams, missed on their first possession. Holmes had a reach-in foul on Capella. Bielitsa hit a 3. Tucker fouled Holmes. Barnes hit a 3. Tucker eventually picked up a second foul, and at this point, I thought he had 3 fouls, which I actually was like, yes, when I saw he got a third foul, because like I know PJ Tucker's a beast defender. I want him out of there. But Tucker, then hit a 3. Corey Joseph hit a couple threes. Or no, I think he hit a 3. He missed a 3. There was a nice steal and a bucket by Ariza. Holmes had a nice little dunk, and overall they played pretty well. Back and forth game between the Kings and the Rockets, first and second quarter. Harden had a 4-point play that was kind of ridiculous. I was like, damn, we really giving him a 4-point play. And then Ariza hit back-to-back threes in the first quarter. And overall, the Kings, to be completely honest with you, the Kings had DeAaron Fox and Marvin Bagley, I would maybe say this game wouldn't be close. Because as far as I was talking earlier with the depth-wise, we have, like, basically, we played 8 guys. The Rockets played 8 guys. We could play Dedmon if we wanted, even though he hasn't been good. We could play Giles. I don't know why they're not playing Giles. Maybe because I don't know if they're giving up on him or what. But think about it. We played 8 guys. The Rockets played 8 guys. But we had Fox. We had Bagley. If this was a playoff series, I don't know if the Rockets could keep up with us, to be completely honest with you. I'm just saying, not that that's ever going to happen, but that's something I thought about today. Like, our team was like running and gunning or whatever we had to do, shooting threes, keeping up with the Rockets, and we didn't even have like 2 of our best players. So that's really what impressed me the most. Second quarter, though, the Rockets got some momentum. Barnes had a no-call foul in the post. He posted up. He got fouled like 2 or 3 times. He posted up, made a move, went to the basket, got fouled a couple times. Luke Walton got technical, which I've been waiting for Luke Walton to get technical because Luke Walton gets hot when he gets when something happens and pisses him off. He gets pretty mad. So I was happy Luke Walton got technical there. And other than that, it was pretty much just a back and forth game. It's almost like each team was just trying to like keep up with the other one and then try to steal it in the last 5 minutes. And it was a pretty entertaining game. Is there anything you saw specifically that stood out to you in this game?
The biggest thing, a few things. One, how we started the game. We came out very aggressive. We started the game with some defensive plays. So I really appreciated that. Our defense, man, like our rotations, like when we're getting squirrely and the ball is moving, it's starting to get so much better. We're starting to not leave our feet as much on closeouts and not take the bait. Like we're finally starting to learn from that, which I was so thankful because some of the people that would always get caught with that was Bogey would get caught on that a lot. People pump faking, he'd get in the air and then they jump into him. He's been going to close out but staying on his toes and not going in the air so much, so that's been helping. And there was one other person that was getting caught on that. Oh, Buddy was getting caught on that a lot, and he was jumping into people. Corey Joseph, it happened to him a few times, but even him, he has learned to not do it as much, even though that James Harden foul was that was still a little. I'm glad they overturned it, the one where he got hit in the head, but the one where he closed out on the inside of his body, like James Harden kind of put his knee up, and then Corey Joseph ran into his knee. They kept that one, and that kind of sucked, but it is what it is. The other one with the other one that stood out to me that was interesting. I still like the defense, but how James Harden waited to feel Trevor Ariza's arm, and then he rose up to shoot, and he made it, and it was a 4-point play. It was going to be a 4-point play, and then they decided to, which was so weird. Like, how does that happen? They decided to not give him the bucket, so they were saying it was non-shooting. It was definitely shooting, but they said it was non-shooting, so the 3 doesn't count, but it is a foul on the floor, so he will shoot 2. So that was that was that. Another thing that I really liked from us is that we stayed in the game, we stuck with it. I thought Luke Walton's timeouts were better too. And probably because we did play better defense. Our defense was just much tighter, just really sticking with guys and not going for bait as much. And better fouls, smarter fouls. Matter of fact, Rashawn Holmes only had 3 fouls tonight, which again, that's a very, very good sign and a big testament. Belly had 4 fouls and Ariza had 4 fouls, but they were playing a little bit more aggressive defense. Buddy Hield also started the game off with some very good facilitation plays.
Same with last game too. Last game I was like, damn, this is the best play. Last game was the best playmaking game I think Buddy's ever played. He's getting better at it for sure.
And it made me think back to the summertime when he was working out with Rico. And I was like, oh, Buddy's handle's getting better. Buddy is learning to pass more. But then you get into game and you tend to rely on the things that you're best at. And, which for him obviously would be his shooting. But, dude, his facility. And it made me think, I was like, if Fox gets back, if it's not just Fox setting the table for him. But if he could also set the table for Fox and catch Fox on some cuts and stuff like that, like, that's so good. Another thing Buddy's getting better at, and this is what is helping him go towards the rim more, because we saw him start to go towards the rim more last season. The 2 seasons before that, like, you know, part of the season we had him, and then the first full season, like, Buddy Hield going to the bucket was like nails on a chalkboard. It was embarrassing, and it was just hard to look at. And then last year he started doing it, and it wasn't really pretty, but it was dropping, you know, like you could see he found his timing and he had confidence. Now this year he's finally starting to use his body to get little bumps before he goes up, and I'm like, yes, he's learning how to use his body. That's the next step for Fox. Fox build his body up a little bit more closer to Buddy's body, and then when he's going in, instead of going in and, you know, and leaning back and trying to hit that floater, the refs aren't going to give you that if you're already falling back on your own accord. You have to give bumps, or you have to be going in, you know, a la, I mean, even though they're better finishers, Kyrie Irving and Dame Lillard, they're smaller guys, and they know that you got to do that, you know. So and even Yogi Ferrell, same thing, you know, he just doesn't have the height or extension. But to see them start to use their body, or especially Buddy to use his body to get buckets on the inside, that's good. And that is also what's going to get Buddy the fouls. That's going to send him to line to where he's going to start elevating, and we'll see closer to those 27-point games and stuff like that. So all of those things are stuff that I noticed from Buddy. Bjelica, what I noticed about Bjelica is this: now that the team's IQ is higher, players like Bogey and Bjelica are going to show how much of an asset they can really be, because they're Euro players. Euro players, it's more IQ and skill than it is, you know, raw talent or even sometimes willpower. So you look, they were on their national team, a bunch of people that play like them, they both did really, really well. Now, you know, and I got to give Luke Walton his credit. Luke Walton is teaching this team defense, teaching this team half-court offense, and look, now, Bjelica, honestly, he's not playing harder than he played last year. He's playing better, and it's because his teammates are smarter.
I totally agree.
That's some of my observations.
When you're passing the, I don't know, but Buddy is getting a better IQ. We replaced Willie Cauley-Stein with Rashawn Holmes. Our backup point guard is Corey Joseph, and our backup point guard last year was nobody. So, I mean, those are just examples right there of how our team is, you know, improved, and we got smarter players on the floor. And because of that, Bjelica is able to be more comfortable and do what he would normally do on a well put together European team, because our team is finally starting to be well put together now. So totally, I agree with those points.
Absolutely. Thanks, Tap. So give me that James Harden hate, my friend. And let's talk about how the Rockets definitely aren't going to win a championship playing this way, because it can't work. Like, you paid too much to get, and you got Russell Westbrook. Your bench is terrible, and then you rely on this guy to just shoot you out of everything. Postseason defense, that's not going to happen. But Tap Lova, please.
All right. Give me like 5 seconds here. Hold on. Let me grab something.
You got it. While Tap's grabbing that, I'm just going to go on that little soliloquy. It's not. All right. It's going to be impossible. Here we go.
This is what you. When it comes to James Harden, this is a typical Rockets game for you.
Oh shoot! Oh, did we lose Tap? We might have lost Tap, everybody. Give me just a second. Let me see if I can get him back. Apologies for that. Let's see. Okay. Nah, he should be back any second. Un momento. There we go. And he's back. There you go, Tap.
So anyways, if we're talking James Harden, this is what you can expect to see each and every game from James Harden. He's got his stupid beard, his stupid mohawk. He's got his stupid Adidas that probably aren't even that comfortable. And this is all he does all game. Yeah, this is him. This is him going to the basket. I'm going to use my basketball piggy bank. Here, let me just go full ISO.
Okay. I'm playing defense. And then I get called for the foul. I'm like, foul? How did I foul?
Damn, this thing's dusty. But you get my point. The dude's garbage.
Yeah, now I on one hand, I actually like to watch James Harden play, but let's be honest. Like, he's one of the most skilled players in the NBA, but the way that he plays the game is only good for the regular season. It doesn't work in the postseason. You can't be doing all, and not only that, but what it makes the pointed beard, LOL, Jeff the lefty. What also it makes you do is it makes your teammates ball watch. So they run 5 out where there's nobody in the paint, and then everybody pretty much knows unless something completely breaks down, they're not going to get the ball anyway. So they just watch James Harden. They barely run any motion offense, even with the 5 out. They barely run any kind of motion offense. You don't see guys cutting across the baseline. Even you don't see a guy come and set a screen for this guy. He cuts across. They go like, you don't see that. You know, you'll see cats ball watching. You see, and you already know if James Harden feels like he can't get something off, he's immediately gonna try to get it to Russell Westbrook. And once you get it to Russell Westbrook, who still is, you know, one of my favorite people to watch, no longer one of my favorite players, but one of my favorite people to watch. But the fact is, you can't rely on his jump shot. You cannot rely on it. And you just hope that he blows by the guy and gets a bucket at the rim. But even then, if he gets fouled, you still can't count on his three-point shooting. So it just doesn't, and I will give James Harden this. His defense has gotten better. He's more conscientious of playing passing lanes and maybe getting steals here and there and whatnot. I will give him that. But he's not going to play the type of defense you need him to in the postseason. He can't, because if he exerts that much energy, then he's not going to have the energy he needs to be but you need him to be on offense. So overall, I like Mike D'Antoni, and I like you know, the idea of his offense and everything. I think it's a really good idea, but the extreme, how extreme, the level of extremeness that they play with it is not going to work. It's just not.
And the sad thing is, I think Westbrook has the tools to be a great defender, but Westbrook's like he's so athletic, but Westbrook's almost at times just as bad as Harden, and a lot of time the announcers try to say, "Oh, well, you know, Westbrook's out there, he's playing like a safety." Like when he was on the Thunder, it was like, "Oh, Paul George takes the one-on-one defensive assignment, and when Westbrook's out there, he's playing like a safety, and he's playing the passing lanes." I don't know. To me, Westbrook has always seemed like he just doesn't want to play defense. He's super athletic. I mean, I'm sure there's all kinds of lateral quickness drills he could do in the world for someone that's athletic as him that could help him get the lateral quickness up, if that was even a problem. But Westbrook just kind of, I don't know. Westbrook frustrates me because to me, he should, honestly, I think Derrick Rose is probably, and this isn't just because he had a game winner, Derrick Rose is probably a more efficient, just as good player as Westbrook, I would say. To me, it's not that much effective, it's not that much of a difference. It's exactly, Westbrook doesn't affect the game as much as the stats would lead you to believe. And this is, you know, the same argument we can make about Harden at times and LeBron and all these other guys, that none of them are as effective as the stats lead you to believe.
Or Nikola Jokic.
Or Nikola Jokic.
Baloney Jokic.
Baloney Jokic.
Yeah, man, I agree, bro. So you know, that's something that they got to figure out as far as our Kings team is concerned, man. Like, the only things that I'm concerned with now, 23 games in, is just what it's, I mean, it's obvious that Marvin Bagley is going to be back before DeAaron Fox, which to me, honestly, you know, now that I'm thinking about it, I mean, if we got to have 2 of our starters injured, I think it is better for one of them to come back at a time. And I am glad that Bagley is coming back first, primarily because, you know, like, we need an additional scorer, and Bagley is a player, and hear me out before everybody jumps on me. You don't want to rely on isolation basketball, but it always helps. I mean, that's why talent gets paid so much, to have guys that can get you buckets. You need guys that can get you buckets, especially when you really need one or you're in a pinch. If you either need a quick bucket or someone who's going to go up for it and get fouled and get to the line, you need guys like that. Harrison Barnes has stepped up and been, you know, that guy, one of those guys for us. Buddy Hield is obviously one of those guys for us, and Bogdanovich has been trying to be one of those guys for us. Like he had a stretch of games where he was doing really, really well, and over the last few games, it's just kind of fallen off a little bit. And I think honestly that's just matchups. I think that's more matchups than it is Bogey himself. He's still playing with good intensity and whatnot and good IQ, but we need Bagley back for that. Fox is one of those guys too. Fox can get us a bucket in the pinch. You know what I mean? I feel like Bagley's a little bit better at it just because of his athleticism and because he plays closer to the rim. So, but I need him to come back one at a time so he can start to feel the flow of what it's like. I know he's been practicing with these guys since he got cleared to play contact ball again, but we only get so many practices. I need him to get that flow. I need him to buy into the system. I need him not to play a bunch of ISO when he comes back. I said that because if we need it, we need it. But I want him to come back and learn to pass out of that stuff, to get the ball in the block where he likes to, and to say, hey, I'm only going to take the shot if it's the best shot. Mouse in the house, take it. Come play pick and roll, get a mismatch, do it. But if you get the ball and then you got Steven Adams on you, you know what I mean? There's no reason to pound and pound and pound if the game is close or we're behind and try to get a bucket. If the game is close or we're behind, find the best shot. If we're ahead a little bit and you're feeling it a little bit and you want to do a heat check, then I'm cool with you doing a heat check if we're up by 8 and you've been scoring. But other than that, I want him to come. I want him to feel the flow. And then also what else is nice about that is that, like Richaun Holmes, he plays cleanup. So if we're looking for the best shots, and now, you know, and he's not the one that has the best shot. If he kicks out and then they shoot it and they miss it, now he's in position to do what he's naturally good at, to clean up. And now he's an asset to us instead of someone who gets the ball, loses it. He can't get, you know, he's got a quick second jump, I know, but depending on how he's shooting it, if he's off balance, he can't even do the second jump. We don't get the ball back, and now we're playing transition defense. So to have him come back, and then Fox have the spear come back, because if everybody else is already playing their roles right, and then the point guard steps in, then I feel like it's going to be a lot easier, because I feel like he'll make adjustments quicker than any of the rest of the team will. Buddy's going to shoot. Harrison Barnes is going to play defense and, you know, and try to get, you know, isolation buckets, you know, when we need a foul, or, you know, shoot the corner three or pump fake it and go baseline. We know Bielitsa is going to bang out and try to get rebounds for us, and he's going to hit that three, and he's going to look to pass to guys and not play out of himself. Now, if Fox comes back into that, he needs to make the fewest adjustments, and then, oh my goodness, what does that look like, Tap?
Well, I mean, I think the most important thing is, I mean, Corey Joseph, for example, he's somebody who's been shooting, I feel like more than, you know, he did obviously when DeAaron Fox was. He's been more a part of the offense. And I think what's most important is that Corey Joseph can go back to his bench role, and Corey Joseph will be more effective, along with having Bagley coming in there, getting some minutes before Fox comes in. Fox comes in there, gets some minutes. You know, he becomes a starter again. Bagley's out here getting buckets, and then all of a sudden Corey Joseph is back to his original role. And like I said, we have a much deeper team than the Rockets do. Like, the Rockets don't have, I mean, the only person the Rockets were really missing tonight was Austin Rivers. I mean,
and Gordon too, because he had like a knee surgery too.
Oh, Eric Gordon, yeah, him too. Actually, I totally forgot about him. But like, we have a roster like with DeAaron Fox back and Marvin Bagley back, we have a roster that I truly believe could compete with any roster in the NBA. I mean, I really believe. I mean, obviously on paper, you know, I could be just making anything up if it's just on paper, you know. But I do believe that, like, you know, on the floor, I mean, look at all the teams. We barely lost to the Lakers. We barely lost to the Celtics. We turned around
and we beat the Celtics one time. Yep.
I mean, all the teams in Texas are always tough. You know, the Mavericks, the Rockets, the Spurs. We should have beat the Spurs. We beat the Mavericks. We beat the Rockets. I mean, I don't think I honestly, truly believe, and this is the first time I think I've ever been able to say this, I think this Kings team at full strength could beat any team in the NBA on any given night. I mean, maybe we had problems stopping Giannis, but you know what? Guess what? So does everybody else. So
that was the only team I was going to say. I think that's that, because especially with how the 76ers are playing right now, I think the only team that would, the two top teams would be the teams that would give us the most trouble. I think the Bucks would actually be a worse matchup for us because of Giannis. Because like you said, I'm going to say, obviously on paper we didn't beat them, but we won that game had they not have fouled us. And call that whack foul on Harrison Barnes when they go back later on the 2-minute report. There was no foul at all. So we won that game, and we weren't even at full health. So absolutely, if we're at full health, we can compete with any team in the league. I believe having Bagley back and having Holmes and having Bagley, Bielitsa as our starting bigs, and then having Holmes come off the bench.
That's what actually I was going to ask you next. How do you think they go? How do you think they go about that? Do you think they do? Do you think they immediately, probably have Bagley come off the bench for a few games just to get his legs back, and then have him start and move Holmes to the bench?
That's what I would want. I would want them to do that, but polling a lot of people, people have disagreed with me immensely. And I still feel like that's a possibility, and I feel like it would be better for Bagley. He only, people forget, he only played in the very first game against steroid-taking DeAndre Ayton. So he hasn't played any other games the whole season. I would want him to, and then as good as Holmes is playing, I would want Holmes to keep the spot for now. Keep us competitive, have Bagley come off the bench and gain confidence against bench guys, at least for, what is it if he does it for 5 games? You know what I mean? 4 or 5 games, let him do that. And then I'm cool with them swapping, have Bagley start, excuse me, have Holmes come off the bench. And then oh my goodness, and then they'll play together sometimes too. So there'll be minutes that what's his name, Belly will sit down and he'll come in, or Ariza can come in and either play the 3 or play the power forward position. Wow.
It's just, to me, it seems like with Holmes being so dominant of a center for us right now, it seems to me like, I don't know. Do you think Bagley and Holmes could really play together and be effective if Bagley, okay, do you think Bagley needs to stretch the floor for those two to be effective on the court together?
Yeah.
Okay. So do you think that's even possible? Because to me, it seems like with having Holmes and Bagley on the same team together, it seems to me like you have to have Bagley playing center. And it seems like the Kings have, and then you would have to just switch out. Basically, you would be making Bagley your starting center and Holmes your backup. And it seems to me like the Kings, every time there's been anything with Bagley in terms of where he's playing, they seem like they're so against starting him at center for some reason. I don't know why. Probably because he hasn't put on much weight yet. And like I said, we've only seen him for 1 game this season. But it seems like they've always been against starting him at center. And I feel like they need to start him at center and just kind of kick Dedmon to the curb and just make our centers be Bagley and Holmes.
I like that. I like that idea. I'm completely fine with that. The only thing is, Nemanja Bjelica is gonna stay in the starting role. I think Holmes comes out of the starting spot, the starting big spot, before Belly does, because Belly stretches the floor. He gives you that exactly. 3-point shooting. Now,
so I think the only way that would work is you'd have to start Bagley at center.
I think you can start Holmes at center.
And then have Bagley come off the bench.
I'm sorry. You're talking. You're talking about if Belly stays in. Yeah, if Belly stays in, then absolutely, yeah. Bags is the starting center.
But Belly's it seems like
playing center.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I agree. So yeah, here's the facts. Kings are getting ready to do some lineups that fans like you said, have been saying, oh no, he can't do that, and maybe Bags maybe don't want to, and. But it's about to happen. He's because we have to put it's not always just about who wants to do what. It's about winning. I guess maybe if you're Anthony Davis and Rich Paul is your so and Bron is there, then you could play that game a little bit more. But when you're the Sacramento Kings and you just got to find out what's it gonna take to win, then he's gonna do what he's gonna have to do. Now I will say this: either way, Holmes has played himself into the rotation so hard that he's going to be taking someone's minutes. Like Holmes is going to get his minutes, like straight. Like Holmes is not going to play less than 20 minutes a game. I'm gonna say that right now, you know. So
and that's also makes me feel like Bagley's going to eventually move into the starting center role, and then Holmes will be our backup, and Dedmon's out of the rotation.
Oh yeah,
it's gonna have to be what it is.
Dedmon is going to be out of the rotation. That's just, we're gonna pay him a lot of money to just sit there and be. I mean, like you said, we don't even have Bagley back, and he got a DNP tonight. Who else did we even play as a bit? We played Trevor Ariza as a small, but that's because the Rockets also play small, and they're down Nene too. So all they had was Capella. So,
and like the Mavs last night, they didn't even play Boban Marjanovic at all. Yes, last night we basically did the same thing. 2 DNPs in a row for Dedmon because Holmes was our only center, and we were fine because you know the Mavs can't play small too. I mean, Porzingis, but he's like on the perimeter shooting threes most time anyways.
Right. Which is interesting because, you know, a much smaller concern, and this isn't as big of a deal, so we're not going to spend a lot of time on this. But if Dedmon is out of the rotation, my man Harry Giles, does he have any chance at all?
That's actually what I was about to ask you, what your thoughts were on Giles not being in the rotation.
It doesn't look good. Now, here's the thing, though. I still believe that because what's his name's Dedmon's contract isn't a team option on the second year. Isn't a player option on the second year, is it? It's a team option, ain't it?
Team option, yeah.
Okay, so being that we see that he's not playing so great for us, we could just pay him his guaranteed money or waive him, give him his guaranteed money, and then we can sign Giles for less.
Actually, I think
since we renounced his rights.
Dedmon is a 3-year deal. So on the second year,
he is a 3-year deal. So he's gonna be with us next year. Okay, so and ain't nobody gonna want him because he ain't playing. I mean, I don't want to say ain't nobody gonna want him because we forget that there's injuries. So for teams that are down a player that someone who isn't playing great is better than nobody at all, we might be able to find a place to trade him. His contract, he's getting overpaid, but his contract is not like egregious. So. Jeff the lefty, I don't think Bagley will respond well off the bench. So in that respect, I hope he starts immediately. Now, Jeff the lefty, let me ask you this question, and feel free to respond with it. When you say he won't respond well, do you mean he's going to throw a hissy fit and be a big baby about coming off of the bench, or do you mean he literally won't play well when he gets on the court? Because if you're saying he's going to throw a hissy fit, yeah, he might. But at the same time, I don't think that's guaranteed. Bags is a guy who, has a really good head, and not only that, Bags is one of those guys that when you put him in the game, he don't remember whether he started the game or not. All he does is just play how he plays.
He's in the moment.
He's in the moment. So if you're telling me, you think he might not play as well. Actually, either way, I may not fully disagree. I may not fully agree with you, but I think it's more likely that maybe he doesn't play well coming off the bench. But if he's not playing well coming off the bench, then how is he playing well starting? You play against worse competition when you come off the bench. You play against harder competition when you start. We'll give you a little time with that, Jeff the lefty, to go ahead and answer that. Any other concluding? Okay, here we go. Jeff the lefty. He gets inside his own head at this stage in the career. Honestly, I haven't seen that a lot. To me, Marvin Bagley I have seen him beat himself up a little bit and get in his head a little bit, but it's been more for mental mistakes than it has been against even when we had Dave Yeager. Like Dave Yeager didn't make him and we saw how Dave Yeager got in Buddy Hield's head, and Buddy Hield is like, I'm gonna shoot it. If Shaq is in front of me, I'm gonna shoot it. You know what I mean? And that's probably the only person's head I saw Dave Yeager get in our starting five, but. Bagley is even a lot less and he's closer to Buddy Hield's style. He's like, I'm gonna play my game, and his teammates hold him accountable, and he won't even, get all about that. But I think another big part of that stems from the whole thing that happened with Chris Haynes last year, and that happened with that GM Chris Williams or whatever, where they were like, Bagley wants more minutes, Bagley's not gonna be happy, this, that, and the third. Yeah, I think a lot of that still stems from that, and there's an air of that going around. But man, when you listen to these guys talking, you hear them talk about each other, and then if you watch someone how they play, even when Bagley was coming off the bench a few times where no one thought he should be coming off the bench, when everybody thought he should be starting and Dave Yeager still wasn't starting him, he was eating. He was eating people alive. He like, if whenever he had a bad game, it was few and far in between, and it had nothing to do with his mentality. It was just he would be missing buckets and stuff like that, or, you know, people would just be cracking down on him on defense. But I haven't seen anything in Marvin Bagley's mentality. Like, and remember, Dave Yeager is a much harder old school coach than Luke Walton is. Luke Walton is much kinder. The teammates like him a lot more. He's a lot closer to them and gets through to him better. So I don't see anything that indicates that would be the case. I'm more worried about that, who's going to be a better starter for our team and what the chemistry is going to be, than I am whether Marvin Bagley is mentally gonna, you know, accept coming off the bench for. And remember, it's not long term. My plan isn't to have Rashawn Holmes be our main big, our starting big, but a guy is coming off of an injury. Playing in practice is a lot different than playing in the game. You don't play, like, guys aren't going at your throat, going at your neck and all that in practice. You may play aggressive and have aggressive practices, but you're still playing so you don't get hurt and so other people don't get hurt. In the game, it's not like that.
Correct.
So, but thank you, Jeff the Lefty. Thank you and this is like part of the show that we wanted to like have more, you know, we want, and, you know, try to have like mailbag type stuff and open discussions and stuff with, you know, with our people, because me and Tap, you know, we'll talk and we'll kind of know, and we hear Twitter talks and Twitter kind of knows. But the other thing is, some of this stuff, even if you watch the post game shows or you listen to, you know, the group of us that maybe listen to like Grant or Carmichael Dave in the morning, some of these questions that you have, they'll just answer people's questions hecka quick, and they won't like take the time to like dig into them or anything. The Sacktown Distractor is here. Lost Sheep is in the building. What's up, Lost Sheep? Tap, anything else to add, my friend?
I think the Kings are fine. We're only, let me go check the standings real quick one last time. I did this the other day on one of the breakdowns. But I mean, the Kings are right now in the Western Conference. We're now one game back from the 8th seed. Actually, one game back from the 7th seed, because the 7th seed Thunder and the 8th seed Suns are both tied with 11 and 12. They're 9.5 games back. We're 10.5 games back. The Jazz are 8 games back, so we're only 2.5 games behind them. The Kings are fine. They're 10 and 13. We've played much better than I thought we would without Fox and Bagley. Although the games where we played bad, they were real ugly, like the game against the Nets. But overall, the Kings are fine. Do not press the panic button. We're doing just fine. We're treading water. And the way this Western Conference looks right now, I mean, Kawhi's been sitting a lot of games. I think the Mavericks' kind of lack of talent behind, other than Porzingis and Luka, is going to catch up with them eventually. The Denver Nuggets don't seem to have the same oomph that they did in the past, especially specifically with that slob Nikola Jokic, the Crisco superstar. It looks like he's made of Crisco. The Houston Rockets, as you see, are beatable. The Jazz, we've already beat them once. The Thunder, I mean, they're average. Chris Paul is gonna, always have his teams playing well. I can honestly, outside of the Clippers, because they do have Kawhi, and Kawhi is having a career, probably one of his worst seasons of his career so far. And like I say, he's sitting out a lot. This Western Conference is not that strong. I know it's like easy for me to say that, like, trying to like make the Kings sound like they're good. But no, I mean, this Western Conference, there's flaws with every team. Even the Lakers, they've had kind of a cream puff schedule at the beginning of the year. Look at the Lakers schedule. They played like the Hornets, and granted, we lost to the Hornets, but they've had like Hornets wins, Grizzlies wins. Like, they've been playing some teams. I think they beat the Pelicans, I think, once or twice already. I mean, the Lakers, their schedule's going to catch up to them as well. And I think, we're going to be fine. The Timberwolves, Andrew Wiggins was real hot the first couple weeks of the season. Where's he been at? I haven't heard anything about him. Maybe he has been playing well. I don't know. The Spurs, they're not looking good. The Trailblazers, they're going to do it. I think the Trailblazers are primed for an emergency trade. More than likely, Kevin Love. and you know, I don't know how that's going to go for them. Grizzlies, they're going to be in tank mode. Jaren Jackson and John Moran are nice. I just read today that the Pelicans are benching Lonzo, and the Warriors obviously stink. So I think the Kings are on the up and up here. The Suns, they're all right, but I know they came out, hot in the beginning of the season, but they've started to slow down. The Kings are primed right now to just, you know, like how Grant always says, you know, the games against really good teams, you just try to stay with them, and then the last 5 minutes try to steal the game. The Kings are going to be treading water this whole season. The last 20 games they're going to try to steal a playoff spot. And you know, if we get lucky, if the curse is finally broken as Kings fans, maybe we do get to enjoy the Kings in the 6th, 7th spot for like the last half of the season. But I'm not going to hold my breath. Either way, the Kings are fine. Do not hit the panic button. These teams in the West are not that good. We should be beating up on all the terrible teams in the East now that we got our legs under us and we're good now. So I'm not hitting the panic button. I'm happy. Kings got the W. Nemanja Bjelica with the greatest post-game interview of all time. I'm happy. I hope you guys are happy. I hope Skip is happy. Boom. Done.
I'm happy. I'll add a little bit to that, and then we can get out of here. Looking at it the way it is, and yeah, Dallas. I think Dallas is going to have a little bit of shakeup as things progress. I'm surprised to see that they were in the 3rd seed. I'm not going to go too deep into that. Let's just say this morning I kind of went against what I've been talking to so many other people about, and I was like, man, what if we did have DeAaron Fox, Buddy Hield, and Luka Doncic and Rashawn Holmes as our starting center and Bjelica? I was like, damn, maybe we would be 3rd seed or 2nd seed, but bygones are bygones. I still like the fact that Bagley and Fox are going to come back and we're going to play better. Ultimately, the way it stacks up, I believe if Fox and Bags can buy in reasonable time, then if they can buy in reasonable time, I think that the Kings can go up into the 7th seed. I think Phoenix might continue to get beat up a little bit. I think we can get closer to staying around 500. I think Phoenix will stay right under 500 for most of the rest of the season. I don't see them going above it, to be honest with you. I think Oklahoma City is going to fall out eventually. I think they might get to a point where they see what it's going to be and probably shut Chris Paul down. It's going to be a little bit deeper. They're going to have to get like way outside of it, but I think eventually it'll get to that point. I think Minnesota is probably going to be the team. I think it's going to be between Minnesota and Phoenix on who gets the 8th spot. But as long as we buy in when Fox and Bags comes back, I believe we can get to the 7th seed now. Like Luke Walton has made me a believer with this defense. Now, the ugly part is I went and I did look at our offensive rating and our defensive rating. And even though we're playing better, it's still not as good as you would think it is. I'm gonna pull up Basketball Reference right now, and obviously, we won some games, but since the last time I checked, but I still don't think it's gonna be improved all that much. So if I go over to schedule and results, okay, well, I'll just look at our offensive rating and defensive rating right here. So our offensive rating is 107, which is 20th in the NBA. So we're in the lower third, 20th out of 30. And then our defensive rating is 19th out of 30. So if you look at it the way that it's set up right now, neither of those, like our defensive rating is 110 and our offensive rating is 107. That doesn't spell good things if the trend continues, but if we can turn that around, and basically our offense is gonna, like, I think our defense is good and our defense will have to get better, but really our offense is gonna need to turn up. And that's where having Bagley give you consistent, and I think Rashawn Holmes has done fine for that, but having one of them come off the bench and give you a little bit of what Holmes has given us to start, and then having Fox come in and give us those buckets that he was giving us before as a starter, whereas Corey Joseph is probably averaging like 6 points or 5 points per game. I think that might be the thing to turn things around. So if our defense can stay put or maybe even go up to 16th in the league, and then our offense can go up to, maybe 14th in the league, then I think that spells good things, and I think we'll definitely be in.
Agree.
Yes, sir. But anyway, that was it. Kings win this one. What was it? By 1.1. You got it up top?
I got it right here. It is
119 to 118 against the
Yes.
Houston Rockets. We will take this game. Thank you everybody for tuning in. We will continue to cover the games for you as much as possible. With the crazy schedule, it'll probably go back to one of us covering, one of us being off. But whenever we can oblige and give you guys, both of us at the same time, we will. And it's a pleasure always doing this stuff with Tab.
It's a pleasure doing it with you.
All right, y'all. Thanks for tuning in. We will see y'all soon. Peace.